season before opening night on Tuesday with the TNT doubleheader. We'll get to all three preseason games throughout the show, but this is a show for predictions as well. And for that, I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, Isiah Thomas. And Zeke, let's get into this. We're going to go through a bunch of potential award winners and scenarios for the 2021 NBA season. And let's start with your Rookie of the Year pick.
You know, Matt, I'm taking James Wiseman, Golden State Warriors. I think that the offense that they run and the style of play that they have is perfect for him. I think he'll get a lot of minutes, and I think he has the wow factor. And once he goes around the block, and what I mean by the block, I mean go around the league once or twice, I think he's going to figure the league out. And I think his talent and his athleticism will definitely take him to the next level.
You know, I have no reason to think that James Wiseman won't have a really solid rookie season with the Golden State Warriors, but I'm going to go with LaMelo Ball, who was also the choice of the executives in the NBA.com GM survey, mostly because of the excitement factor. This guy is a gifted passer, and you know what that means, Zeke? It means highlights. It means people will be watching him, and I know the shooting numbers could be a little scary, and he's playing behind a couple of really good guards, but I see LaMelo Ball averaging 7-8 assists a game, and in what I think will be a crowded field, I think he's got as good a shot as anybody to walk away with Rookie of the Year. All right, let's go Coach of the Year now. Who you got?
I'm taking Steve Nash, and the reason why I take Steve Nash, I think he's got a loaded team. He's got, a coaching staff that's just about as good as anybody. Got D'Antoni sitting next to him. He's got, Amari Stoudemire. They know their offense. They know their style of play. He's coming in with an understanding of how he wants to play. And then he's got the pieces and the talent to play that the way he wants to play. I think he's going to have a fantastic first year as a coach. And I do think he'll be the Coach of the Year.
Certainly has the roster to make it happen. I chose Brad Stevens from the Boston Celtics as much as anything because he hasn't won the award yet. And Zeke, as you know, he is widely regarded as one of the best head coaches in the NBA. I like the continuity in Boston, as you'll see when we go over our standings here in a moment. I actually think the Gordon Hayward departure could sort of solidify some roles there in Boston as well. And I think at the end of it, he's got a good shot of being rewarded with his first ever Coach of the Year award. Time for Most Valuable Player. Zeke, who is it?
I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. When he was healthy, he was the best player in the league at that time. Although LeBron James has the best, body of work over a period of years, I thought Durant, the way he was coming along and the way that he was playing the last couple of years before he got injured, he was looked at as the best player in the league. And I do think that he will come back and be able to reclaim that space and that title as the best player in the league. And LeBron James and the Lakers, I think it's going to be an exciting year watching those two go back and forth.
What a story that would be to come back from that injury and win that award. Giannis Antetokounmpo may well put up the kind of numbers that could win him a third straight MVP, but I do think there will be MVP fatigue among the voters. LeBron and Anthony Davis, I think the Lakers will be looking more for the postseason, so I don't know that the minutes, maybe even the games, will be there for the two of them, who also cancel each other out a little bit. So I came down to a pool of three players, including Durant, Nikola Jokic, and my pick, Damian Lillard. Nice. Bear with me here. The Blazers, if healthy, are deep and look like they could be back to where they were a couple of seasons ago when they were in the Western Conference Finals. I expect them to have a great regular season. And from where they were last year, that is the kind of storyline that often leads to an MVP vote. And Lillard, obviously, if he has another season where he's averaging 30 or something like that, and the Blazers are third or second in the West, that's a recipe for an MVP award.
I personally would love to see Lillard win the MVP because I got great respect for his game. I love him as a person. And, he's the real deal. So if he wins the MVP, I think it would be great for him. It would be great for our league. And it would be a player that I think all the league has great respect for and would want to see him do well.
Plus a great sign for Portland's regular season as well. As you know, the end of the regular season will conclude with a play-in for the final two spots in each conference. So we decided to go 7 through 10 here for both sides, starting with the Eastern Conference. I've got Wizards, Pacers, Hawks, Magic. You have Indiana, Detroit, the Hawks in the same spot, and then the Wizards at 10.
I always have to put the Pistons in the mix. Emotionally, sentimental, but also I think, with Blake Griffin being healthy, if he's healthy enough as a player, I think he's good enough to get the Pistons in contention. The noticeable absent I have is the Orlando Magic. I do think they'll be in the mix, but, the emotions of picking the Pistons, it came down to the Pistons and the Magic. Sorry, I got to ride with the Pistons.
Totally understood. I love that you're not at all objective about this. There's nothing wrong with that. Top 6 in the Eastern Conference. I have Milwaukee winning it for a third straight year. You've got the Bucks second this time around. And your faith in the Nets in their first regular season with Durant and Kyrie Irving and Steve Nash is a little stronger than mine. I have them fourth there. But, obviously it could happen. I just think Durant will end up resting some. I think Kyrie, they'll be very cautious with them. And that's another team like the Lakers because of their experience and their talent. I don't think we'll particularly care about seeding.
I like the Nets' talent. I mean, they have talent, and they got the two best players in the East on one team when I look at Durant and Kyrie Irving. And I also, Matt, I'm a little different than everyone else. I love the journey that Kyrie Irving is on as a person and as a player. I mean, the creativity and the artistry that he truly brings to the game from an originality standpoint. And there have been very few players who have brought this to our game. Pete Maravich was one. I was accused of being one at that time. And, understanding the artistry and the creativity that you try to paint from a masterpiece every single night, his personhood that I think he's developing and growing. I truly do love the journey that he's on. And he's already won a championship, so he doesn't have that pressure. But I do think the pressure that he's put on himself to become a better person, to become a better player, and to become original and to try to do things that no one else has ever done in the game before from a playing standpoint, not from a scoring standpoint. I love watching what he's doing. So I'm a big Kyrie Irving fan, just as I was a Steph Curry fan. And like I say, Matt, you were in the studio with me many a nights when I was watching both those guys play. And what Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving are doing and what they've done to the game from an originality standpoint and an artistic standpoint, I think it's beautiful to watch.
There's also no one in the league bringing Sage to the arena, which Kyrie Irving is now doing as a visitor.
Well,
so he's got
Jackson
that for him as well.
Wait a minute. Phil Jackson did it. Now, I remember when Phil Jackson was coaching. No, when Phil Jackson was coaching with the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, sure, he did all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
he would bring Sage, and he was on that mental kind of journey also. And I thought he brought the Bulls along with that. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to Kobe Bryant talk about his breathing, and you listen to Shaq talk about how Phil made such a difference in their life and their style of play, the way they played, I thought he connected. He connected the Buddha also with the game, which was a little different. And I think that's a path that Kyrie is on, and I love watching it.
Let's get to the West now, 7 through 10. I have Dallas, Phoenix, the Rockets, and the Pelicans. You have the Suns in your top 6, and the Jazz falling down into that play-in situation along with Houston, the Warriors, and the Pelicans. I also have Golden State in the top 6. I think we both agree, Zeke, that the Rockets should have an asterisk next to their name because we don't know what's going to happen there.
They should, but as long as they still have James Harden, he's still there. We have to keep Houston in the mix, Matt, because James Harden is good enough to get them in the playoffs. And what I've seen of John Wall and Cousins in the preseason, I do like what I'm seeing with both of those guys again because when they're healthy, they're at the top of their game. And right now, Wall and Cousins look like they're healthy.
Yeah, John Wall's moving really, really well given the layoff. Top 6 in the West now. Both agree the Lakers are the number 1 team in the West, even in the regular season as well. I talked about the Trailblazers. If healthy, I think they're very dangerous and have the potential to be a 2 or 3 seed in the Western Conference. Ahead of the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Warriors. You've got Lakers, Clippers on top, then Denver, then Dallas is the 4th team, then Portland and the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I like the Suns moving up. I mean, anytime you put Paul and Booker in the backcourt, I mean, that you couldn't ask for a better guard combination in terms of those two playing together on paper. Hopefully it will work out. And if it works out, I think the Suns definitely make a leap up into the upper echelon of the West.
Well, that's exactly where Oklahoma City was last year with Chris Paul running the show with those great guards with the Thunder. All right, that was fun, and we've got more of that coming up here